Hey, this is Pamela Riemenschneider, and this is Produce with Pamela, and I'm on the road. I'm in artichoke country. I'm at a field here, and this is organic artichokes actually. I'm in Central California at Ocean Mist, and this is where they grow artichokes. And what's really cool about the way they grow artichokes is you can see the sand dunes behind me, and there's the ocean behind that, the Monterey Bay. And Ocean Mist isn't just a brand, it's also what happens here. And when I learned that the first time I came out to Central California, I thought that was really cool. So that's something that I tell everyone in there. They're probably tired of hearing my corny jokes about it. But anyway, so let's talk about artichokes. And Pamela knows stuff, right? So here's the stuff I know about artichokes. Did you know most people think artichokes are a perennial? And that means that they come back year after year after year. And botanically, they typically did for a long time. But here, where they grow artichokes commercially in California, they've actually switched over to primarily annual production. So that means that they start from a seedling and then come transplant these out here in the field. It takes about 6 months, and then they start harvesting artichokes. The other thing, did you know, artichokes are a flower. They're actually a thistle. And if you've ever been poked by a thistle, artichokes have thorns. And thistles, if you know, a lot of them have spines or stems, like thorns that come out here. These ones actually don't right now, but sometimes if you buy some artichokes at the store, you'll come across a little spine right here, and you want to cut those off when you eat them. But anyway, so you see these plants, they don't like a lot of water, which means that the leaves are very firm. So you can see the stems right here. I couldn't break this if I was trying. They actually come through and like snip it with a little knife and throw it in the thing when they're coming through and doing the harvest. So this is what an artichoke is, a flower's bud actually. So it looks like this when it's on the plant. Plants are pretty tall. If you can see these, they're about 3 feet tall. But you know what they look like when they've actually opened up and turned into a flower? This is what they look like. Isn't that cool? I have a friend who actually had these in her wedding as the centerpieces, and she wasn't even in produce. She's so on brand here for me. Another thing you might not know about artichokes is when you see them at the store, here's one that got cut but isn't big enough for them to throw in the harvest. The stem's only about 3 inches long, but you can actually eat all of the stem. And it's one of my favorite parts, so all you have to do is like peel it and leave it attached. And when you either steam or roast or whatever you're gonna do to your artichokes, this part is edible too. So you can eat it when they're a tiny little baby. You just eat more of it. Just cut off everything that's like hard and green that you can't, basically, if you can't chew it, you can't eat it, right? So that's what I tell my kids when we have artichokes. If you can't chew it, then you can't eat it. So they just like scrape whatever they can with their teeth off of the petals. So you can eat them, like they can harvest them when they're like tiny little babies. But actually, this is closer to what they want when they're harvesting. They want to have the biggest one on there. But an artichoke plant can have several different buds on it at one time. So if you look over here and you can see all of these here, they're all in different stages of production. So they'll come through here and harvest about 15 times, I think is what they said. And come through here, they'll harvest everything that's big enough, and then come back a week later, harvest everything that's big enough, and they actually have them in production for about 6 months out of the year. Artichokes are a year-round crop for Ocean Mist, so they move production areas down to, I believe, Oxnard, and then into the desert in Coachella to have them year-round. So the harvest crew comes through here pretty quickly, and they're actually just cutting with both hands. They have a knife in each hand. They're just chop, and then they throw it back here on the back of their little backpack full of that, and it gets to be 80 to 120 pounds. And then they take it over to the truck over there, and then they're field packed and then taken to a cooler to cool down. The best way to keep an artichoke fresh is to actually treat it like a flower. So when you get it home from the store, cut off about a dime-sized piece, is what they told us here, and stick it in a vase of water or a cup of water, and then put it in the fridge. So keep it chilled and then keep it in some water, and then that way it'll rehydrate before you cook it, and it'll taste even better. So I'm gonna take some artichokes home and show you what I do with them in the kitchen. Now I hope you really enjoyed our little look around what it looks like to grow artichokes in California. Again, this is Pamela Riemenschneider for Produce with Pamela for Blue Book Services.